Yeah, hi. This is Mani. I'm a solution engineer at PicOS. So in this video, we are going to be talking about securing secured wire access for Windows laptop used by employees in which 802.1x applicant is running. So it consists of 6 steps. So let us go through one by one. First one is you need to create user identity groups and then add users. This is in ISE. So let me show you how to do that. So you come here, click groups, administration. So basically we are talking about user endpoint groups. Basically you will click add to add a new user group. In my case, I already added, so I'm going to walk you through that. So I called PicOS employees, name and a description, and then you click submit to save it. Then we need to integrate with Active Directory. So let me show you that. You go to administration identities. So in here you can import from users from Active Directory, or you can create a local user by clicking add. In my case, we are using local user whose credentials are saved in the ISE database. But if you are integrating from Active Directory, you will click import. So let us just look at one example of adding a user locally. So I added a user called Nirmal. You see the email, you see the password. So the most important thing, you select the group that we created, which is PicOS employee, and then you'll be clicking submit. So that is the way to add the user. So we have done the first step of creating user groups, adding users. Second, we need to create policy in ISE for 802.1x. These are for laptops that have 802.1x supplicant. So the first step is creating authorization profile for dynamically assign the employee laptops to corporate VLAN. In this case, it's VLAN 10. So let us see how to do that. You will come to policy results, and under authorization, click on authorization profiles. You will click plus to add a new authorization profile for your employees. In my case, I already created one for the employees, which I'm going to show you here. So add the description, access accept, add the PicOS logo. I'm currently showing you the ACL for employees, so we'll look at VLAN shortly. So in this particular ACL gives complete corporate access. So I selected ACL, and this is a ACL authorization policy for employees. Once I select this, I click submit. So we got the ACL policy ready. Now let us do the VLAN policy. So I created a VLAN policy, same thing. In here, the corporate VLAN is 10. So I selected VLAN, corporate VLAN 10, and then you submit it. So this is how you can create authorization profile for dynamically pushing VLAN and dynamically pushing ACL from ISE. So we are currently done with the first two. Then we need to create a policy that uses these two authorization profiles. So let me show you that. You go to policy sets. Basically, you will click plus. You will call it your company employees. And basically, it's going to be a wired 802.1x. It's not wired map. It's going to be wired 802.1x. Since I already created, I'm just going to ignore this. I will. Okay. So I already created it called PicOS employee, wired 802.1x, default network access. So click this, greater than sign. So first we need to define authentication policy. So for all MAP devices which are done by endpoint identity group, we used internal endpoints. This one is based on user identification and user identification groups. So we will use all user ID stores. That's what we will select here. And the options are going to be reject if authorization fails, if user not found, reject, and if process failed, drop. So that's under authentication policy. And then expand authorization policy. So under default, you will click here and then add the dynamic ACL and dynamic VLAN authorization profiles we added, and then you will click submit. So that's how you create policy. So we have done the first one, we have created policy in ISE. Then the third thing is you need to configure 802.1x applicant on Windows laptop or other laptops. So for this, it's given very detailed in the integration guide. So you can use that. Like I'm going to skip this step, right? Then we need to configure VLAN and the MAC auth policy that we showed. So here is the high-level thing, right? This case is employee laptop 802.1x. Dynamic VLAN we are pushing is 10. Dynamic ACL we are pushing is MAC auth policy 2. This is the authorization profile for VLAN. This is authorization profile for ACL. And this is the name of the policy called PICA 8 employee. So we already configured all codes to support MAB authentication and 802.1x authentication. That is in first video, which is integrating PicOS NAC with ISE. So I'm not going to repeat that. We have to make sure we configure VLAN 10 and then this policy. So let us look at how that is done. So I'm going to check on, I'm going to show you whether the VLAN policies are created. So it's going to take me 1 minute. I need to connect to the console. Or I can SSH. Okay, I got the console. So I'm going to run this. So we have already configured VLAN 10. You can see here. Next, let us look at the policy that we configured. So we are going to allow employees to access the corporate network. So basically, it's a forward action is not drop anything, allow complete corporate network access. So this is the ACL that we are using called MAC auth policy 2. So coming here, we have already configured those. Now we are going to test wired access. So if I'm going to check on the port, so port 23 is connected to a Cisco IP phone to an employee laptop. So let us look at how authentication, if we need to verify how it looks like. So in here, we are going to check on port 23. You can see here, it's already we see the phone first, and then we see that on authentication. Because just now I connected the laptop and authenticated from there. So that's what you see it here. So that's how we verify on the PicOS. Other thing we can verify is we can look at whether VLAN 10 is pushed. So if I look at VLAN 10 port 23 to which we are connected, you see it's already has VLAN 10. Other one we can check is we can check on the ACL that we configured. So you can see the number of packets going through that ACL, and it's connected to port 23. So that's how you verify on the PicOS. Let us now go look at on the ISE side. So you can see the MAC address of my laptop ends with a DB. So I'm going back here, go to Operations Live Logs, and I'm going to look for one that ends DB. So it pushed my ACL profile and VLAN profile. So I'm going to click on the detail. So you can see there the VLAN is pushed and we have a filter ID.